The world of EDC guns is vast, and for the uninitiated, it can be very overwhelming because technically anything can be considered an EDC gun.
Like a Mark 23.
Or you could grab a 1911.
Good old P30.
How about that Beretta 418?
And that 19X.
Don't sleep on the revolver though, everyone.
Today's video is not about telling you this gun over that gun, but more things to consider when choosing a gun for you specifically.
Right, so today we're going to be looking at 10 considerations we believe that you should take into account when selecting the right EDC gun for you. Okay, here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, doing the damn thing.
Doing it big. How are you?
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well. Just hanging out in the studio.
This is a fun topic today.
It is. I think it's a relevant one. I think it's one that everyone is historically looking for the easy answer of like, just tell me what to get. And this is kind of an honest assessment of like, there ain't really an answer here.
Correct.
And I don't even think by the end of the video, we will have told you what we think you should get. Actually, I can guarantee you we're not. We're going to give you information to make a selection based on.
You've heard the term paralysis by analysis, right? I think gun guys in general will analyze this.
Yeah, analyze it. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
To the nth degree to where they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this, creating kind of a study guide or
it's like a
self-help
cheat sheet.
book,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Maybe self-help, is that what we're getting into?
Sure, yeah.
On what to choose for you and things to consider.
Yeah.
Because it can get complex.
It can. And so we figured we would start by showing you guys the most common guns that we actually personally carry. And then we're not going to give you a whole lot of context on why this is what we carry, but we're just going to kind of show you what our primary carry guns are. Let the video sort of play out, just very sort of natural, organic conversation today, nothing particularly fancy. And then at the end of the video, we'll circle back to, okay, so now let's come back to our carry guns and why we've actually selected them.
So I was going to say, gentlemen, go first.
So, okay, so first, really my primary, like my ride or die carry gun is this gal right here. This would be a Nighthawk Treasurer. Chambered in 9mm, lightweight red dot system from Nighthawk with a Holosun EPS on it. There's a single stack. It's chambered in 9mm.
How many rounds?
Backup on this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
9, correct? 8 in the mag, 1 in the chamber?
Oh, I thought you meant how many rounds have I fired through
No,
it.
like how many does it carry?
Yeah, 8 plus 1.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And so that is my primary. My backup that is, I'd say that Nighthawk is, I mean, we're talking 95% of the time. I mean, the vast, vast majority of my time carrying a gun is that Nighthawk. My backup really is my HK P2000. This is, again, a small percentage of my time spent carrying is on this, but it does indeed get carried. I really do not have a third gun that I carry. That will be changing soon, but I can't really let the bag out of that too much right now. It's cool as shit, though. I'm excited about it. You can't tell. So anyway, P2000 is my backup carry.
Yeah, for a long time, I'm pretty well known on the channel being a Glock guy. Like, right? I mean, I know what I am, right?
We know.
For the first 3 years, shot this on the channel. It started off as a 19X, snagged a Glock 45 slide, threw it on there, right? So we got a red dot, iron sights. This is my primary for 3+ years, probably, but maybe even longer.
Sure.
Right? After that, stepped up to the P30 Langdon.
Yeah.
Right. And this has been a recent development, taking this over. But again, we're going to circle back to why that is. Right. But this has been my main for a long time until the Fowler. One of the main reasons being is the holsters actually are cross compatible. So my P30 holster works with this, and it's great. And that's
Very
what
weird. I can't explain that.
I can't make it up, but that's how we run it. And I just wanted to step up, be a little more classy.
Yeah.
Get back to little older model of gun.
Yeah. America.
America. Yeah. So we'll get into that.
Okay, right on. Before we move on, a couple quick thank yous. Guys, sponsor of today's video, really excited, new channel sponsor would be National Armory. So they are a shop in Pittsburgh. You have seen them on the channel before because we actually went to their shop and oogled over all of their inventory on the hunt for Gucci guns. Pittsburgh, that is also where I bought my Mac 11 that is on the wall over there. And there's a code that you guys can plug into their site that'll save you 10% off. That is just 1911, right? Basically just plug in the model of that gun. Not Treasure, I swear to God, if you type in Treasure, I'm gonna beat you up. Not really, but anyway, 1911 saves you guys 10% off. One of the things that they do at National Armory is they buy collections. And this is actually a video series we really want to do, is go with them on some of these collection hunting trips that they do where they buy really cool stuff. So when they buy collections, obviously that gets you some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like when someone's like, hey, I've met you. Tom Selleck's been doing this even lately, where he's like, he's accumulated this collection, he's selling stuff off.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, when you see people that like sell their collection to like fund retirements and stuff.
Some gems in there.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. So National Armory does that, which means, hey, one, they've got really cool, unique stuff, not only modern guns, but vintage and neo-vintage stuff that you guys can check out. But also, if you have a collection that you want to move, they would be good folks to hit up about that. Anyway, check out their site. Can't link it below, just per YouTube rules and everything, but search National Armory. It'll pop up. Okay, moving on. All right, guys, point number 1. We're calling this probability of threat. Okay, and just a disclaimer, these first 3 bullet points are really more so kind of like mental things.
They all really kind of interweave between the first 3.
Yeah.
But mentally, where your mindset should be going into this.
Yeah.
Right?
So when we say probability of threat, I'm sure you've heard the term.
Yeah.
You know,
Least
a lot of military
probability, the
guys,
highest.
you know, a lot of military guys talk about it in terms of, you know, CQB and yada, 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 and clearing rooms, whatever. But probability of threat, I think, can apply to the EDC gun conversation, which is, in essence, basing the gun around the most likely circumstances that you're going to find yourself in.
Yeah. Not some outlandish, you know, World War III apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I need a gun with a light and an optic and a suppressor in a inside the waistband holster carrying 7 extra mags.
Yeah.
Right?
So you go, okay, if I knew I was going to get into some shit today, would potentially a Mark 23 with an X300 and a suppressor be like super ideal with a couple of backup mags on like a speed rig on my thigh? That'd be a pretty badass scenario, right?
Sure.
But that
for every day,
realistically what I'm preparing myself for? It's like, is that what my lifestyle dictates? You know, it's like, this is kind of the probability of threat conversation, you know?
Well, and some people might think we're being a little extreme by using that as an example. But guys, that's the whole point, is to get your attention. Like, these are things to truly consider when going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. So the notion is like, it's about finding a balance based on what you perceive to be enough firepower, if you will, based on the most likely circumstances that you're going to be in. And we'll talk about occupations and some of that stuff a little bit later in the video. But it's like, hey, what are your realistic perceived threats? Do they dictate that like you need a Glock 17 with 2 extra mags and an X300 and an Acro on like an OWB rig? It's like, okay, maybe your life dictates that. Mine really does not.
Not at all.
You know, it's
In
like,
fact,
I'm a
the
normal
opposite.
dude, you know? It's like, I'm pretty low speed in my day-to-day life, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I scaled my EDC accordingly, right? So probability of threat. Okay, point number 2 is the notion of having different guns for different circumstances. So one point that I would make is, you know, some people might say, you know, Jake, I'm not made of money. You know, I've only got one gun that I really have for an EDC gun. And that's perfectly fine. Obviously, you're going to have a gun that's kind of a jack of all trades, perhaps a master of none, but it's like, hey, you're going to have a good, solid EDC gun, which does not necessarily mean expensive, just means you're going to have one good EDC guns. But I think that it's a fair conversation to have to say, it's fine to have multiple guns for different circumstances.
Sure. Yeah, why not? I mean, that's anything in life, right? You have different knives in the kitchen because you like to cook for different things, right? Not one size fits all for that.
Yeah.
If you have a pretty standard life where it's pretty basic, like you know your day-to-day routine pretty well, like it's probably a little bit more easy to predict, right? But if you are, say, a contractor, you might be going to business meetings one day on a job site another day.
Sure.
Right? Like you're going to have different circumstances and different guns for those circumstances.
Yeah, you know, a contractor might be like, hey, one day I've got like my full like combat gun on me because like, hey, we're dealing with some high-end PSD shit or something, and then the next day he's like, man, I got to be super low vis because like
I'm in a construction contractor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
No,
okay.
like construction,
Oh,
not
okay.
like
Yeah, fair enough.
a private security
I was talking about
contractor.
contractor.
Yeah, I was talking about, which funny, both apply, suits and
Both work.
So again, there's a great example of different circumstances.
Yeah,
but,
you know, but it's like, hey, you may have circumstances where you're like, hey, man, I can't, like, I got to be super low vis on this particular thing for whatever reason, and you're like, cool, I might have a gun that is like kind of underpowered or whatever, but it's like it's the best I can get away with it in those circumstances. So for me, like different guns for different circumstances. So my primary, again, is my Nighthawk Treasure. That is with me 95% of the time, which is really, hey, the time that I'm in my home state of Utah. There's really no circumstance when I'm in Utah where I don't carry that. That said, the P2000 for me checks the box of this is largely my travel carry gun. And the reason being is because when I travel, I'm not really, and like, we're going to talk about budget and stuff as we go. So I will circle back to this. But like, I don't trust TSA with a $6,000 carry gun.
Sure. Understandable.
I don't. So I travel and it's like, hey, cool. I grab a P2000, not exactly a cheap gun either, but it's like, hey, relative, it's like, hey, that is kind of my travel, more of my beater carry gun. I even have my third carry gun that I'm not going to announce yet because I think it's going to be a fun reveal later in the channel, but it's like, I've got a very specific purpose-built winter carry gun being made for me. Okay. It's gonna be badass.
Yeah, I don't even know about.
And I'm gonna get roasted, and then some people are gonna be like, "That's the coolest thing ever." It's gonna be a hybrid of hate and love.
Okay.
But it's like I have a third carry gun on the way that is like very purpose driven for lazy winter carry.
Yeah. Seeing for my circumstances, like before I had this current job, I was flying all over the country multiple times a month, doing different things within the industry, right? And I carried my P30 because it fit the bill for everything that I needed. It would be my range gun when I was on the range doing demos. So I could put a light on it for OWB, take the light off, put it in a CCW holster. It's expensive, sure, for a carry gun. I mean, those aren't cheap, right? But I shoot that gun better than any gun. It's been incredibly reliable. At demos and shows, people would ask to shoot it because they watch the channel. So like that was my main one that fit 95% of my life as well.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I always look at it like this. There's a quote that I heard, I think I heard it on like Shark Tank years ago. But it was like, great is the enemy of good enough. And that always stuck with me because I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Would it be great to have any of these full-size guns as a carry gun? Sure. But it's like, is something always better than nothing? Yeah, I think so. Is a Beretta 418 like a badass combat carry gun? Not really.
Not particularly.
But if it's this or Tom O'Leary,
I'm taking Jack Johnson, or I'm taking that.
yeah, right. I'd take this little guy, right? It's like, yeah, it's underpowered. It may not even work past one round, but it's like, I don't know. It's better than nothing. And I think better than nothing is sometimes we don't acknowledge. Like, yeah, it's better to have something than nothing. That, you know, climate dictates a lot of this. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But it's like, hey, different seasons can have different carry guns.
I mean, it was 65 and sunny here the other day, and then it snowed. Yeah, so, like, you know.
Yeah. You may be carrying in a bag, in which case that might open up a totally different size gun.
Which I've started doing at my new job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, which we'll get into that. But before we do that, we got to cut the shit on some stuff.
This is number 3, okay? We're starting point number 3 here, everyone.
Cut the shit, meaning stop carrying questionable EDC guns. Now, like this is almost comical. Like, what's a questionable? Grab something off the wall for a questionable EDC gun.
I was going to say, I'll grab one. I already feel...
While he's grabbing that, but some people, we just made a joke about it, but some people will be like dead set serious on this kind of joking EDC gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can already feel, okay, so
go ahead, Jake.
I'm already going to just address Caleb by name. Don't take this personally. This is not directed at you, but I happen to have 2 James Bond.
The rules don't apply to him.
I happen to have 2 James Bond carry guns.
He is James Bond, so that's why the rule doesn't apply.
So here's what I'm talking about. I love this Walther PPK. I think it would be really cool to carry it here and there in my suede holster and everything, but it's like, this gun has questionable reliability sometimes. This one's been altered a little, the trigger was tuned, and like ultimately it like just has light strikes and things like that. So it's like, yeah, this would be really cool. But this gun bites the shit out of you. It has spotty reliability here and there. It has kind of a weak round, and it's just like, yeah, it would be cool. But like above all else, a carry gun, I must be able to depend my life on.
Reliability above all else.
And competence of the shooter, I would argue. So you're like, hey, I'm a decent shooter on a 1911. I'm a pretty shit shooter on a PPK. So it's like, there's 2 factors here. I must be adequate with the gun, and the gun must be able to be relied on. If both of those cannot be checked, it's like, I get it. Sometimes it would be really cool to grab a Luger up there and carry a Luger to make a statement. It's like, hey, if you're going to a barbecue and you're grabbing a barbecue gun, that's a different thing, right? We're playing the barbecue gun game now. But like
barbecues and Lugers. I mean,
yeah, not great.
Dang, Jake.
Not great. Yeah, I definitely walked into that one. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Apologies to all the families. It's this might be where we get canceled. That one's even World War I marked.
I mean, I want to make sure I wasn't the only one that made the connection.
It's not advised. Okay.
Moving
we'll
on.
Move, we'll move
Moving
on
on.
from this section. Okay, that's a cut.
Jake, point number 4, budget.
Quattro. Yep.
Hey, good job. This is something to consider because, one, we're not all made of money.
No.
Just because you can't afford a Fowler or something, a Nighthawk Treasure, doesn't mean you can't get a reliable gun. However, there's a certain level of budget that is needed to have reliability.
And I don't think it's high. I mean, because if someone were to come to me and be like, hey, I'm thinking about using my $400 Canic as a carry gun, I'd be like, I think that gun's pretty badass.
They have a good track record.
I don't have any issue with
$400?
that. So, I mean, it's like, can you get a good carry gun for $100? Probably not.
I think that's pushing it.
Probably pushing it. Maybe a Derringer, to throw in your garter belt or something. But, which, hey, based on, your occupation,
That might work.
valid
No
consideration.
judgment here.
I don't think there's really any scenario where you would based on necessity, need to drop more than $1,000 on a carry gun.
No, I think that's fair.
And that really should get you a gun with either
Good holster.
upgraded sights or a dot or something. I mean, it's like I think you could get a good base gun for $600-700 and do a slight bit of upgrade to
Yeah.
it.
Or I'll do you one better. Please trade in Glocks or like a couple $100
all day. Yeah.
Most of those guns are not shot because most cops don't shoot. This is not a dig. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them have a lot of holster wear and stuff, but say you replace the parts for another $100, you basically have a brand new gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Totally. And then a question will, because it comes up all the time, which is it stupid to carry an expensive carry gun? Because I already know that some people, like, I get it all the time. People are like, oh, you really carry like this 6,000, something like that. And I say that with no, like, let's not make that mean any, like, oh, Jake's trying to flex or whatever.
Not
It's
at
like,
all.
that's not that at all. I think it's a valid question to ask, is it stupid to carry an expensive EDC gun? And in my opinion, one, who gives a shit, is my honest answer. Who cares?
what is your life worth? Like, this is what it literally boils down to.
Yeah, because the argument that people make is, well, have fun when that gets confiscated after the shooting, and be like, okay, great, let's entertain this notion for a second. So
Do some stats here.
you're suggesting that I was in a shooting, I survived it. Chances are legally justified. I mean, that'll have to play out. But let's say I'm in a legally justified shooting and my gun gets confiscated. I have to go through the court system. First of all, eventually, I get that gun back. It's not like it's gone forever.
No.
And do you think that after I just survived a self-defense shooting, take the gun, dude? I'm happy to be alive. I don't give a shit. Take the gun.
And then the other argument is, well, if you spend that much on a carry gun, you should be competent with it. You should be probably the most trained with it, the most accurate, all these other things. So you're literally just stacking the odds in your favor.
Yeah. It's like I carry, and we'll circle back at the end of the video, but it's like I carry that Nighthawk because, like, this is the thing that I'm best with.
You shoot well with that gun.
It's like because it is the platform that I train on. It is a carry version of the platform that I actually train the most on. And again, we'll circle back to all that. But it's like, hey, if you want to carry an expensive carry gun, go for it. If you want to carry a $600 carry gun, go for it. Who cares? But it's like, if you think that I'm concerned that I just got in a shooting and my expensive carry gun just got confiscated, which in theory I'll get back, I don't give a fuck.
It's the least of your concerns.
Yeah.
You're about to have a mountain of legal headache and everything else. Like, least of your concerns.
Okay, that's a little bit unbudgeted.
Point number 5 is going to be work lifestyle considerations. This doesn't really apply to you that much, Jake.
No, I have no.
For the simple reason you never leave your house.
No, and I have no wife or kids.
Life doesn't really change for you.
Responsibilities, yeah.
I'd say your day's been about the same for the last 15 plus years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Where mine, I'm dynamic. I'm doing stuff different all day, every day, right? Out and about.
Yeah.
But recently, I got a job where I'm not traveling as much and I'm actually behind a desk quite a bit more.
Yeah.
And because I'm a functioning adult now, carry a messenger bag to work
Okay.
with a laptop, some medical gear, and my
Tampons.
vitamins and tampons. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, what that's opened up to me though, because my lifestyle has changed, is instead of going for a carry gun like a 19X or my P30, right, that I carry on my person, I'm sitting behind a desk a lot. So I'm also carrying a bag. So I started off-body carrying quite a bit.
Yeah.
To the tune of Langdon PX4 Storm. Full light, extended mag, optic. Much like we were talking about earlier, my lifestyle before this didn't dictate that kind of gun.
Yeah.
Now,
That's a lot to conceal.
it's a lot to conceal, which I could do.
Yeah.
No problem. But I have a messenger bag at work.
Yeah, who cares?
So like it's in the bag or it's on my desk, like it can be any size of gun.
Totally.
I even just for shits and gigs, Jake, Started putting this in the bag.
Yeah.
Mark 23. Why? Because I can.
Yeah.
Right? And my lifestyle changed to where it's a fun carry gun.
Yeah.
It's a fun, off-body carry gun. It takes up my entire messenger bag. There's no room for even my laptop when it's in there, but that's a whole other story. So lifestyle is going to dictate it. If you're wearing scrubs to work, you're obviously not carrying these kind of things.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a construction worker, contractor, construction worker, not the other one.
Got it.
Right? Dude, you're wearing jeans, boots, probably a hard hat. Like, you need to have a gun that's probably small, but also super reliable because it's going to get dirty.
Yeah.
But you don't want something big and bulky on your person with all your gear on.
Totally.
Right? So lifestyle is something to be 100% honest with yourself.
And not just work. It's like someone said this wasn't my idea. Someone highlighted it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting point." Someone was like, "Hey, man, I got like little kids that I have to carry around, so having some big appendix rig with an X300 and everything is not particularly viable." They're like, "Hey, I have to carry at like 4 o'clock, and it's got to be a kind of small gun because it's like I got a fucking one of those like
Baby
chest
Bajorn
rig things. It's like
for
a
kids?
backpack. It's like a backpack in the front you put a child in."
Yeah, it's called the Baby Bajorn.
Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever the fuck that is. Yeah, like.
What's crazy is you would fit in one. Like,
Yeah. Oh, son, please.
We're
son,
actually going to do a
please.
video on that. I'm going to
You
carry you
can't
around like a
contain me.
baby.
You can't contain
just
me
wait, Jake.
in a Bajorn.
But you're right. Lifestyle is going to dictate that. Not just job, but kids, wife, whatever it may be. Number 6, we're going to talk about climate considerations. Me living in Arizona, where literally the climate doesn't really change.
There's a variable, which is just how hot, though.
Yeah, but we're not worried about that. People complain about the heat. It's not a big deal. But I think you're more kind of attuned to this because it was 65 the other day and now it's 30.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we got hit with a freaking blizzard,
Yeah.
old me and Crispy there yesterday. Good time, and that's fall weather. And so, and even yesterday, I mean, the irony is we were shooting a 2011 video, and it was kicking our ass with cold and wind and everything. And so, hey, climate considerations do matter. So, like in harsh, cold environments, yeah, you need to be a bit selective in terms of how you select an EDC gun. Because if you think, look, 2011s, it's used as an example, it's like, hey, they can be kind of picky on temperatures and even the oil you use based on cold and things like that can matter. But it's like, hey, 2011s that are really lightly sprung and everything, like my Infinity, the final night that we shot our video on that, it's like the finale of the video where I'm shooting the gun at night. So many people commented on that. They're like, bro, it looks like your Infinity's like barely ejecting brass in the shooting footage of that. And that's because the gun froze.
Yeah, the tolerances are so tight it seized
like
up.
my gun froze that night. Like we literally didn't think we were going to be able to get the shooting footage done in our Infinity video because like my gun was frozen and it was literally a musket. It was tap rack for like 2 mags to get the gun warm enough to be able to cycle. So it's like, hey, that's an extreme case. That's kind of a race gun, but it's like factor these things in. Even so, I would even argue on the heat side for you. It's like, hey, look. If you're in a really hot climate or humid climate where it's like you sweat all the time, take that into account in terms of what kind of finish is on your gun.
Is on the gun.
You know what I mean? Because there are some finishes that rust out a lot quicker than others.
Well, and other things to consider too is like screws for your optic,
Yeah.
right? Yours is point and case.
Mine's
Jake's a little
rusted out.
getting some little belly juice on there and it's rusted out, which is disgusting.
Yeah,
But
I'm going to let it ride.
it could be that because again, if your life is going to be dependent on this thing, the equipment and everything involved needs to be at a professional level.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
What if those rust out? You go to shoot a bad guy, it snaps off, hits you in the face. What are we doing here? Right?
Take it into account in terms of your optic choice. So again, yesterday,
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Okay, so yesterday we were shooting in a wet, snowy, windy environment, and my open emitters were struggling. My acro was not.
I get it, but also like RMRs were the standard for like 10 years, and we figured it out with RMRs.
Before closed emitters, though?
What I'm saying though is like if your budget can only afford an open emitter, it's not an end-all be-all thing.
But you can get closed emitters for pretty much the same price as a good open emitter.
They're like $50, $100 more. Like I'd save up for it for sure.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is don't discount open either because people use them for a long time successfully.
You can't. I think you do need to be realistic with knowing how well you maintain your gear.
Which is the whole point I made with the screws.
Yeah.
Right? Like make sure your belly lint's out of there. It's clean. You're good.
Right. If you're someone that's like, hey, I never really fuck with my carry guns. I just kind of let them like run as is to the apocalypse. Cool. Open emitter could come back to haunt you.
And I think that that's irresponsible.
It's fair.
You've agreed to carry a firearm in society to be a higher level of an individual. That means you should maintain the gear.
I agree.
Like, dude, I clean my optics probably once a week if I'm carrying it. Dude.
Totally. I mean, it's like, look, you can obviously always go iron sights, but it's like, I think the red dot discussion, open versus closed, on certain, especially certain climate, considerations, like a snowflake hitting that emitter, it's like, yeah, your optics pretty well fucked.
But you can make it work.
Not ideal though.
Not ideal.
I'm just saying, if for a similar price you can get a closed, it's like based on your, again, we're not here to tell you what to pick.
No.
This is things for you to think about. We're trying to equip you with like, hey, here's things to have in your brain so that when you're picking your carry gun, you're like, okay, well, let's think about that. I don't care what you carry. It's you.
Like Arizona, it doesn't rain, right? It's sunny 365 days a year. So different strokes for different folks.
Okay.
Action.
Okay, guys, if you're looking for some EDC things, Big Tex would be a great place to go and do it. Like the Holosun 507C, they would carry that. I know they also carry another Holosun, EPS. They got that. What do you got over there?
They carry weapon-mounted lights because sometimes you need a weapon-mounted light. They carry...
Yeah. What else? They're going to have not EDC, unless you EDC a AR, which, I mean, hey, I guess that's a thing that you could do, but they're going to have all those kinds of accessories like that.
Yeah, tape switches too.
Yep, they're going to have all of that. They're going to have all kinds of things. Pretty much anything you need, I would suggest you go check out the folks at Big Tex. There's a code you guys can plug in, save you 10% off. That would be 1911 SYN. That is 1911. Boy, this is brilliant. This is brilliant on this ad.
That wasn't even planned.
Okay, 1911 SYN. That saves you guys 10% off. No, don't do the D.
Don't do the D.
Don't do the D.
Don't do the D.
Don't D me, okay? Don't do the D, everybody. 1911 SYN, save 10% off. Sorry, Big Tex, we do our best here. We're inadequate at doing
You got fired.
any of this shit. My bad. But anyway, if you guys need any other help from the 1911 Syndicate on real estate, let us know. Our Patreon is also linked below. That helps keep the ship sailing, because the economy is mean streets out there. So check out the Patreon if you want. And back on with the show. Okay, number 7, everyone. We're talking about caliber, really getting down to some fairly kind of bread and butter specific things at this point. So caliber is always an interesting, the internet has no lack of opinions on caliber debates.
You know what they say about opinions, right? They're like assholes. Everyone has one. They all stink.
Everyone's got one, man. Yeah. Everyone's got them. Yeah. So here's sort of the general advice that we would give, which is choose a caliber that is effective for self-defense, but that you are still confident in your ability to shoot.
Yeah. Shoot well.
Yeah. That is the essence of it. So I'll give you an example. Yeah, 10 mil may outperform ballistically 9 mil or 45 or something like that, but it's like, hey, if you shoot it like shit, who cares? Or if it's so expensive to buy that you're never going to even get some rounds on it, what's the point? You're
like
now
5.7.
You're now ineffective with it because you're like, I never shoot it. It's too expensive to shoot. Okay, cool. Probably don't carry it then.
Yeah. If you're not shooting your carry gun, you're not competent with it. Therefore, you're more of a liability.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone likes to talk about caliber and this and that and this. It's 2024. I can't believe it's still something we talk about, but it all really comes down to shot placement. Like, choose a caliber that is cheap enough that you can train for it, ballistically is reliable, but also, much like you said, you got to be able to shoot it, land those shots where they're supposed to land.
Yeah. And I do think there is some consideration to make in regards of selecting a caliber based on probability of threat. If we go to that conversation, I'll give you an example. So when this animal that's down here sleeping right now,
snoring.
Yeah, snoring, actually. When I used to go and going through dog handler stuff, it was in Wyoming a lot. And I remember the guy that was kind of like Finn's dog trainer up there. He carried a 10 mil 2011, which is kind of badass, actually. And I remember kind of asking him about that, and he's like, look, where we live, human threat is not really the threat that you're basing for.
It's nature.
Nature is the thing trying to kill you here. So it's like, if he draws his self-defense gun, chances are he's shooting at an animal that's trying to harm him, not one of the 40 people that live in that town that they're all buddies and drink together at night.
Yeah.
So it's like, factor that in. If you live in Alaska and you're like, hey, there's fucking bears everywhere that are trying to take my head off, yeah, you
Glock
might.
20 might be your thing.
Yeah, you might be carrying a 44 Magnum. You might be carrying a Smith & Wesson Model 29. That might be a great carry gun for where you are. And with the cold and yada, yada, yada. So it's like, hey, you might be a frail woman who's like, I love the idea of carrying 9mm, but the reality is 32 ACP is all I can competently shoot. Well, it's a lot better than nothing.
Dude, if she's landing like T-box hits,
She's still gonna smoke someone.
dude, I'll take it all day.
It's like, could it be better? Could she have a 10mm that she carries? Yeah, but she's not competent with it.
Yeah,
it's
like
like
gonna break grandma's wrist.
yeah,
too,
it's like,
right?
what's the best thing you can be competent with that still has some ability to be effective? It's like, hey, 32 could get the job done if it had to. At the very least, it'll probably make someone rethink what it is that they're doing to you.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, hey, caliber. There's no right answer, just consideration.
Next up, Jake, point number 8, capacity. Again, this is another nuanced thing that people get hung up on. I need 7 17-round mags and an extended in the gun, yada, 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 right? Statistically, the stat that we always throw out is between, in a self-defense scenario, 8 rounds are exchanged total between both individuals, okay? This is FBI stats. So it could be 2 from you, 6 from me, 4 from you, 4 from me, right?
Yeah.
So do you really need X amount of rounds? Again, if we're gonna be practical about all of this, guys, you don't need a 30-round extended mag for your EDC gun.
No.
Now, would a suppressed P7 work?
Well, I grabbed this to highlight a point. This is a P7 M8 frame. This is a P7 Pro gun, but like P7 M8 frame. And if you remember the story of the P7, the Germany or HK basically did research when Germany wanted a new service gun, and they basically came to the conclusion of, hey, all of our studying is showing that the average officer-involved shooting does not require more than 8 rounds. So they built this as the P7 M8 based on that was the capacity that was adequate. So it's like, now the irony is, my carry gun's the same thing, 8 rounds.
Interesting, right?
Because the truth is, I'm rolling the dice on probability of threat that I think that is going to be adequate capacity for the most likely scenarios I could find myself in.
In your everyday life.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have, 30, 2 extra mags and you got 50 rounds on you, but it's like, is that what you want to prepare for? Go for it. I don't care. It's your carry setup. I don't give a shit what you do, but it's just like, I don't think the most likely scenarios I'm going to be in involve that sort of capacity.
Yeah. I mean, I've been carrying my 43X here and there because, again, I sit behind a desk. So got a little +2 extension on there, 8 rounds total. Like, dude, nice little gun.
Well, and that's the reality of why micro compacts are so popular, is because essentially, look, you're taking a compact carry gun, a micro compact carry gun, and you're giving it good capacity, whether that's a 365 or Glock with shield mags or whatever, or CC9 or whatever it may be. It's like, that's why they're so popular, is you get good capacity out of a very small gun.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, hey, if we were really saying what's the most practical carry gun for the majority of people, probably micro compacts. Now, that's a blanket statement. I don't think applies to everyone, but it's like, there's a reason that market is so big.
All right, Jake, point number 9 we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Accessories. If you want to lead the dance on this one.
Sure. Okay, so I think that there's 2 primary accessories that are worth having a conversation about,
Nowadays,
which would be optic and light. We're not going to get into holsters and this. That's like totally different shit. But optic and light, I think, are very relevant. So optic, in terms of should you have, the question is really like, hey, are these things that you should have? And look, my opinion on optic is, it is very based on how much you train with a red dot.
This is true, which it should all be based on how much you train.
Yeah.
Regardless. If you're going to take it serious, be a professional and carry a gun, like, you're at a higher level, right? So you should know how to train. Having said that, I think optics are mandatory.
I agree with you if you train.
With a,
Yeah.
Well, and if you're realistic
it is unique.
about
I mean, it's like, hey, you need to spend some time on this. You need to take some classes. You need to get some real rounds down range. Because if you're drawing a gun and you're still thinking about how to find your dot, you are not ready to carry a dot.
You're not ready for that.
You're not ready to carry a dot. And now it does bring up the argument of like, hey, if you're carrying a dot, should you have backup irons? I actually have kind of 2 conflicting opinions on this. One of which is, I trust the gear that I carry.
Correct.
So like on most of my rifles that have dots, or even full-size 2011s and stuff over there, I don't give a shit about having backup irons, to be candid with you.
Yeah.
On a carry gun, I have to admit that it might be a tad fuddish, but I'm like, there is a part of me that still likes to have backup irons on a carry gun.
But I don't think it's a necessity. I used to argue that. Same with irons on a rifle.
Yeah.
Now with dot technology, I mean, our good friend Mike Panone, who taught the red dot class for us, for crying out loud, he's got several guns, carry guns and comp guns, that he doesn't have irons on.
Yeah.
because he's trusting the gear.
Yeah,
right?
and this on my carry gun is a case of I do trust my dot. The way that these particular guns are made with the iOS system and everything, it's like it simply comes like the plate comes with backup iron sights. So it's like there's no disadvantage to having them because this was how the configuration came. But it's like, yeah, you could definitely argue the backup irons thing. Light. We'll talk about light, and I think that this would probably be the moment where the internet people, the Reddit commenters of the world. Well, here you go, boys. We'll give you some juicy material here. I'll give you an unpopular opinion. I think a weapon light's overrated.
I am in the same camp as you. Not needed, not once, in any way, shape, or form, ever. And people will now in the comments say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Again, probability, if we're going to go off of this and be honest with ourselves, you're not in a underwater nighttime gunfight ever. So like,
yes,
all these hypotheticals people think of. And then also, we have access to guys who did the job and did the damn thing nowadays. Many of those guys, you can name them off. A lot of the big instructors nowadays carry just a pocket light. They don't have a weapon mounted light.
Yeah.
And the biggest argument for me is, well, what if I hear something and the only light I have is a gun and I have to turn on the light and point a gun and it's my kid at night? Like, this is a different scenario, but like they're in a scenario where they just pointed a loaded gun at someone or something just because that's the only thing that had a light. Aren't you more capable with a handheld?
Well, you're capable of doing administrative tasks as well as shooting. Now, I get it. The people out there will comment like, well, have a weapon light and a handheld. Okay, cool. Now we are getting into, for me, which is a big thing for me, which is there's only so much shit I want to have on me here. It's like, I get it. I'm supposed to have an IFAK on me. You know what? I don't. You guys can criticize me for that, but it's just like, hey, I'm pretty minimal in what I carry, but I look at the weapon light thing. I think so much of this comes down to being able to articulate why you do what you do. And I don't think a lot of people think through this stuff. So I'm very conscious of the fact, look, my gun doesn't have a light rail.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that was a conscious decision in selecting this as a carry gun. So why? Because when I look at my life and what I do on a day-to-day basis, there's almost no scenario where there is not enough ambient light around for me to PID a target. I have a glowing red dot also, by the way. Oh, and by the way, my front sight is also tritium, right? So it's like I can still get a sight picture, but you go, okay, probability of threat. What are the most likely scenarios I could come across? Okay, I'm walking to my car in a parking lot at night. What are you telling me? It's a parking lot that has no overhead lights? When was the last time you saw one of those? Or I'm in my driveway and I'm pulling up and someone's gonna try to do something. It's like, okay, cool. Like there's ambient light all over the place. There's almost no scenario where I'm in complete darkness where the only way I can defend myself is to have a weapon light. It's just not a reality for me.
It's hypotheticals, man. That's it.
And the other thing that I would say, and again, hear what I'm saying, because I know that this could come off or whatever for some people, but it's like, yeah, you'll hear, ex-SEALs or whatever the case is, going through their kit list and being like, here's my gun and I run a weapon light. The problem that I think a lot of us do is they are talking about time spent in combat zones.
In a third world country.
Right. And applying it to a civilian that lives in Salt Lake City. And it's like, okay, hang on. You were offensively clearing buildings. You were doing shit that is nothing related to anything that my life
my
is.
desk job 9 to 5.
Yeah. And it's like, you guys can debate me on this. It's fine. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm saying I'm articulating why I've done what I've done. It's like, I don't think there's many scenarios where I need a weapon light to a movie theater. Some shit pops off in a movie theater, which has happened. There's a giant fucking screen there casting light into the whole room. It's like there is ambient light around.
Yeah.
So go ahead, have fun in the comments. We will move on to point number 10.
Last point, number 10, unique manual of arms.
Yeah.
This is something I didn't consider. So
yeah, this is one that sort of came to my mind as we were planning this out, which is like, hey, modern striker fire guns, that's part of the appeal, right? Is there's really nothing to think about. Yeah. Like you draw that gun, there's no manual safeties to defeat. It's just, you just draw the gun and you shoot.
Chamber gun, drop the slide, shoot.
In many ways, it's much like a P7 where you're like, hey, the act of drawing the gun and it takes away all the safeties. It's right, your finger depressing the little trigger safeties.
Little trigger
takes
safety
off. Now, if you want to carry a gun with a unique manual of arms, I'll give you a couple examples. That's fine, but you need to be very proficient. AKA, hey, if you're going to carry a 1911, first of all, if you carry a 1911 and it's not cocked and locked, what the fuck are we actually doing with our life? You know, so, but it's like, hey, there's two manual safeties to feed on a 1911. One is the grip safety, which should be a non-issue because you grip the pistol. The second one, of course, is a thumb safety that you take off. Now, if you're a newer 1911 shooter and you're thinking about carrying one, and you're still going to the range and you're about to reholster, and you're like, I gotta put the thumb safety up. You're not ready to carry a 1911, okay? Like, if there is a manual thumb safety to defeat, you are only ready to carry that gun if it is subconscious, like it is an unconscious thought.
It should be like bringing up your AR.
Yeah.
When your safety's off, as soon as you're done, safety goes back on.
If we are still in the phase of thinking about taking off safeties, you're not ready for it. Same with a DASA gun. Obviously, you've got two different trigger pulls here. So it's like, hey, you need to be very competent with that first long double action trigger pull before the gun goes into single action. Also with the manual of arms of course, you know, decocking before you holster and all that. Again, if these are things that it's like you don't have adequate time on the gun, these are not the guns you want to be carrying.
Correct. Yeah.
Same with a Mark 23, you know, it's a DASA gun.
Yeah, you can carry it cocked and locked and DASA, right? Like we can, you can have, sorry, we're just trying to not flag people with this stuff, right? Which the way we're pointing, completely safe, so. Right, we can carry cocked and locked with your safety up or down and decock it, right?
Yeah,
so
choice is yours, doesn't matter. But it's like, once you start getting into these sort of unique manual of arms guns, like the level of responsibility, I think, increases even more because there are things that you have to think about. But again, the point is like, hey, if you're still having to think about those things, like you're not ready to.
And you should know the condition of the firearm at all times.
Of course.
Meaning, are you like, oh, do I have one chambered and I'm cocked and locked or decocked? What is it? You should know that.
Okay, so now let's bring it home with kind of our primary carry guns and why we've actually selected them. We'll talk about all those considerations and how we got to the point we did on our carry gun.
Yeah, more of a final thoughts kind of wrap up, if you will. So when I first started carrying Glock, it was simply because it was Glock and Glock is Glock.
Yep.
Right? I think that about sums it up, right? Reliable, it's gonna go bang every time. Very few moving parts. If you break something, you can replace it. There's a plethora, not a plethora of accessories, holsters, and everything on the market. So really, I mean, I think for most people, starting off with a Glock, and I think you'd almost agree, is a great way to start, right? So
you can't really go wrong on it. Do I like a Glock? No, but can I acknowledge it as a viable tool? Sure.
Yeah. Another thing too is capacity, right? If I first started with a 19, 15 rounds, 19X, we got 17. Plenty of ammo for any situation you're gonna find yourself in. And again, with all the things I already listed, it's just an easy layup of an EDC gun, right?
Yep.
So next one up to the P30 for a long time. This actually replaced a 2011. If you remember, I replaced my Staccato with this.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And started carrying this and just fell in love with the LEM light, basically light, what do you call it? It's like a light double action is how I've always referred to it.
It's double action only, but it's like an enhanced light.
It's an enhanced light,
only.
right?
Yeah, tough to describe.
Basically, you know, nice light trigger pull, flat wall, distinct break. The grip just fits my hands. It carries way more comfortable than a Glock, in my opinion, because it's a little more rounded. There's not as many sharp edges. And I have easily 15,000 plus rounds through this gun, and it just runs.
Yeah.
So that actually beat out Glock, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's been kind of your ride or die for quite a while.
My ride or die.
Now.
Yeah, if zombie apocalypse is tomorrow, it actually beat out Glock. I'm taking this. So it just runs, man. It's continued to run. It's not going to stop running. The biggest thing that I like, one of the biggest things, is because we're hammer fired. When I reholster, I put my thumb on that hammer, right?
Yeah.
Just as another layer of safety for reholstering. Like, it's a nice little added touch to a hammer fire gun, but I'm in love with it. It's awesome. So, what about you?
So my primary, my Nighthawk. So one, this is an officer-sized gun, so it's, you know, sub 4-inch barrel. That's for me completely adequate, and just based on my frame and how much gun I like to carry, that is for me in the sweet spot. Like, yeah, I could maybe get away with a Commander or something. It's just a little more gun than I personally enjoy carrying. And I do think, again, if you're not going to do it consistently, you're fighting a losing fight. I will consistently carry this because the size of the gun is basically the same size as a, you know, like a kind of a large micro compact. Chambered in 9mm because that is, for me, that balance of effective, but also very shootable for me.
Shootable. Yep.
Single stack, so this is 8+1. Truthfully, I always carry it as, really 8 rounds total. I don't even do the +1, so it's really, just 8 rounds, period.
Yeah.
I do carry a backup mag, but again, I'm going based on probability of threat. I think 8 rounds with a backup mag for worst case scenario, I think is going to be adequate based on the most likely scenarios I could be in.
Yeah. See, and I don't even carry a backup mag at all.
Yeah, well, you do have more capacity than me. Also.
But even then, people will argue that, and again, probability.
Sure, no, I get it. And occasionally, I am lazy and I don't even grab the backup mag. But this is built on a lightweight frame, just based on strategically. I don't like carrying a lot of weights. It's built on an aluminum frame. iOS cut, so I've got a closed emitter dot based on, again, like I said, weather conditions, things like that. I prefer having a closed emitter just based on where I live. Do have backup iron sights. No light rail because, as discussed, I do not think it is. I don't judge you if you carry a light. Knock yourself out. I think it's probably great. I just think based on how much I'm willing to prepare for, a weapon light is not the thing that's going in the list for me. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my Nighthawk, my backup, my P2000. So really the reason for this, ultra robust, obviously less expensive for travel, things like that. If I was really going to be in some just shit weather conditions where I know my EDC gun's about to kind of go through the ringer, I'd probably grab this just based on durability of HKs. Mine is set up much like your P30 with an LEM trigger, so lightened LEM crisp break. The reason for that is I've got the same trigger pull every time, which for me very much mimics a 1911 scenario because it's the same break every time. Different style of trigger, but ultimately same trigger pull is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I don't want to swap over to a DASA for a carry gun because I don't train with it enough to be adequate. Good capacity, 9mm, all that kind of stuff. That's my primary reasons why I carry that.
Yeah, awesome carry gun, dude.
Yeah, great gun. So guys, sort of sum it up, there's no right answer. Everyone can, I'm sure, jump in the comments, and I'm going to see plenty of people just being like, Glock 19, Glock 19. It's like, cool, dude. I'm not saying it's a good carry gun. It's not a good carry gun. Yeah. I'm just saying there is no correct answer. Analyze some of this stuff. Next time you're in the market for a carry gun, or if you're a newer shooter and you're thinking about becoming a human being that carries, think about it.
Or even if you're experienced in this, you're down the rabbit hole, you're carrying a full-size Glock 17 with a light and an RMR and 10 mags on you. Maybe rethink some stuff.
Yeah, and if you don't want to, great.
Also okay, right? At the end of the day, you do you, homie.
Yeah. All right, guys, comment below. Let us know what I don't know.
Let us know how your day's going.
Let us know whatever you want.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next week.